going on here? I don't remember this. But it's not complicated at all. It couldn't be simpler. Politicians are making it much easier to be a homeless drug addict in the United States and much harder to be a law-abiding member of the middle class. What's the effect? Well, let's see. The middle class is dying, and we now have record numbers of drug-addicted vagrants. What does that tell you? It tells you that incentives work. If you destroy the nuclear family, which they have, if you decriminalize drugs, which they have, if you hand out tents and needles to addicts, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to get more addicts living in tents. Again, it's not complicated. This is not a vexing public policy question that requires the Brookings Institution to investigate. It's not like fixing Social Security. And the solution is as simple as the problem. Here's the solution. Stop putting up with it. Say no.
For the last counterpoint, which I believe is so important in terms of this abortion debate, we currently have a culture where men are routinely accused of not stepping up to the plate. In fact, just this week, it was announced that only 18% of households in America today feature a nuclear family unit, a married mother and a father raising children. Make no mistake, father absence is one of the biggest, if not the biggest epidemic that we face in this country today. But why are we expecting men to step up to the plate when we have women that are telling them that they don't have to? Why should men step up when the message that is ringing out loud and clear from mainstream culture and media is that beyond sex, men have no responsibility or say in the lives of their children? I mean, how on earth can someone logically explain how a baby is 100% the property of a woman as it grows inside of her, then the moment that the baby is born, it requires a 50-50 split? Can a man stand before a judge at a child support hearing and say, Your Honor, it was her body, and it was therefore her choice to have this child? The answer, of course, is no. Obviously not. That would be stupid. If a man is colloquially referred to as a deadbeat dad for taking no part or responsibility in a child's life as he or she grows up, then the same must also be true for a woman who wants no part or responsibility in a child's life as it grows inside of her. My body, my choice is a pervasive, deadbeat mom argument that accomplishes nothing but excusing too many men from stepping up to their most important role as fathers.
To any family, I think you.
What makes these kids good, man, and successful in life and ambitious, they need that mama and daddy good foundation.
Yeah.
Without that good foundation,
A lot of times the kids.
yeah.
It doesn't even matter your race. I mean, it's a big problem in the black community.
Yeah, a lot of my friends didn't have that, and all of them went to prison.
Yeah.
Every last one of them. Not one of them didn't go to prison.
Yeah, but it even happens, even to the privileged white people. You don't have a parent. A lot of times a kid grows up, not too good.
And Marxist theorists had to confront the question, what had gone wrong? Antonio Gramsci in Italy and Georg Lukács in Hungary believed they had the answer.
Gramsci and Lukács argued that Western culture had blinded the working class to its true Marxist class interests. Before a Marxist revolution could take place, Western culture had to be destroyed. In 1919, Lukács, who was considered the most brilliant Marxist theorist since Marx himself, asked, "Who will save us from Western civilization?" That same year, 1919, Lukács became Deputy Commissar for Culture in the Bolshevik Bela Kun government in Hungary, where he launched a program of cultural terrorism. As part of that program, Lukács introduced a radical sex education program into the Hungarian schools. Political correctness, as we know it, was already beginning to take form.
He tried to actually undermine the unity of the family, and that was one of the reasons that he tried to introduce sex education.
Laszlo Pastor, a leader in the Hungarian resistance against the communist takeover of Hungary after World War II, explains why children were targeted.
It's always much tougher to convert an adult, to do something what he was taught not to do.
The program left great residual effects on Hungary.
The only thing what we were permitted to accept as far as culture is concerned, what they were teaching, that was it. Free thinking was a very big sin.
It confirms the role of the Frankfurt School in creating the victim groups that constitute the politically correct coalition. Of critical importance for the injection of the Frankfurt School's work into the student rebellion of the 1960s was Marcuse's revival of Fromm's notion of sexual liberation.
Marcuse, however, was the main conduit of ideas. But Marcuse had written one important work in the 1950s called Eros and Civilization.
Marcuse's Eros and Civilization condemned all restrictions on sexual behavior, calling instead for polymorphous perversity. Polymorphous perversity helped open the door to aspects of political correctness, such as gay liberation.
This is his idea of what human society, a good human society, should be based on, was a certain kind of polymorphous perversity and narcissism, which by liberating non-procreative eros, was his term, we would find great enlightenment and great happiness. This was supposed to be the key to utopia.